Hi guys, first video of the channel. We're gonna see what are the differences between OS X, Yosemite and El Capitan. Let's check it out. So here we are with El Capitan. This is my first video in English, so please forgive me if my grammar or pronunciation or vocabulary is not perfect, but I hope it won't be a huge problem. So let's see what changes right after the update to El Capitan. First thing, the system font. Wow, what a huge difference. Before it was Vatican, now San Francisco. I mean, if you're not super careful, you won't even notice it. So seriously talking, what you get from El Capitan that you didn't have in Yosemite, you get performance. And that's the major thing that changed in El Capitan. You get the new graphics API from Apple, which are metal. They are the same introduced with iOS 8 and iOS 9 in the system graphics, and they take a much better advantage of the capabilities of computers in OS X in order to get much better performance and much less energy consumption. So what you get is everything run perfectly smooth. With Yosemite, I had a lot of troubles running things perfectly smoothly. With Metal, almost everything is smooth. I mean, after updating from Mavericks, which was smooth enough, to Yosemite, I had some problems trying to run everything smooth as it wasn't smooth. So, for example, opening the preview with the spacebar, some images were a bit too large, even if they weren't actually so large. So a lot of frame drops. The notification center also was a bit laggy, and also if I had a lot of application running, such as Safari, iTunes, Photos, and Maps, but Maps alone was enough to do that. Changing the desktops was very bad. With El Capitan, I had almost no problems at all. So I mean, if I have too many apps running, of course there is some performance drop, but not a big difference that I noticed with Yosemite. El Capitan is, I mean, maybe smoother than Mavericks, but with the new graphics introduced by Yosemite. So big thumbs up for El Capitan. The battery life, I think, didn't change at all. Apple didn't say anything about the battery life, but I found that it's almost identical to the previous system. So now let's talk about the new functions introduced with El Capitan. First of all, mission control. Mission control is a bit different from Yosemite. In this new mission control, you don't see the desktops unless you move your pointer towards the upper bar, and it's a lot smoother, as I already said. And if you open some apps, they're not grouped anymore, so you just can see them all. Another new feature is the split view. So as Windows 10, I mean, we can say copied the multi-desktops from the OS X. Also OS X copied this feature from Windows 8. So now we can get more than one app at full screen at the same time. I mean, I don't think it's a useful feature. I mean, I wouldn't even use it, but some people can find it useful, so okay. We can find other differences with the preview animation with the spacebar, and also if you open the apps at full screen, you get a different animation, which is, I mean, in my opinion, far better than before. So it's much quicker. I mean, I hated waiting an entire second for an app to get full screen, and it's also a bit more pleasant to the eye. Spotlight changed too, and now it's a bit more intelligent than before. You can just type text a little bit like if it was Siri. So, for example, the last document I modified, and here it is. So just simple as that. I mean, if you like doing spotlight searches, it's a useful feature. We can find other differences in Safari. Now you get a thing called pinned sites. You can use it as a favorite bar, but the pinned sites are also refreshed in the background. Another feature in Safari is the mute button. You can see here, you can mute one tab by tapping here, or all the tabs by tapping here. Quite useful. Also, Mail gets a little bit of an update. Now you can swipe from right to the left to trash a message, and from the left to the right to mark it as an unread message. Notes gets a pretty big update. Now you get a whole different app, same graphics, but you can use it to do something way richer. You can add images by dragging them and dropping them onto your note, or also by using this little button here, or also by sharing them with notes. It's a pretty useful feature if you use notes to get documents synced with your iPhone, with your iPad. So now you can just do something more. With maps, you get, let me say, not a huge update. There is the transit view now, and you can see information about public transports. But I mean, I'm not against Apple Maps, but I think Google Maps are way, way better. Photos too gets a little update. Now you have some more filters and the ability to add third-party extensions. The system preferences now are much smoother too. For example, if I open a tab and now go to the all tabs view, now I don't have any problems at all. With Yosemite, I used to have some frame drops and stuff like that. And also, if you go to general, now you get the possibility to hide the menu bar and not just the dock. A big change for disk utility. Now it's a bit more colorful. I think there is less information than before. If you like to see all the technical stuff, I think it was better before. I prefer the one in Yosemite, but it's not a big loss here. You can just reach all the information in other ways. Another thing worth noticing is that I got almost 10 gigs of free space in addition to what I had with Yosemite. I don't know if this happens to everyone, but I think that if not 10 gigs, some gigs can be freed up. So it's a good thing, especially if you have a 250 gigs storage or even a 128, which is a bit too little for a PC. So before concluding, let's just think about what's happening to the mobile operating system and to the desktop operating systems. We do criticize a lot mobile operating systems, but they're actually much better optimized and focused on performance than desktop operating system. For example, let me just take a quite old smartphone today, such as a Galaxy S3, S4, an iPhone 5, an iPhone 5S. They're all able to surf the web in a almost perfect way. Of course, the new devices are much faster than them, but if you just open a super heavy page, they don't have too much problem handling it. But a PC or a Mac does have a little problem. For example, if I just open Facebook and scroll up and down, it's not so fluid as if it was on my phone. I just can't explain that. Of course, a mobile operating system is much lighter than a desktop one, but that doesn't just provide an excuse to this difference in performance. So let me say that El Capitan is a good step towards a better experience in desktop operating systems. I do think that Windows 10 offers something more in that way, as it is designed specifically for tablets and two-in-one devices. But I do think that to achieve the experience that phones and tablets give to you in a desktop operating system, Microsoft and Apple and whatever, they have to rebuild their systems from the ground, from zero. So let's hope. In the meantime, El Capitan is a good step. So if you liked the video, put a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.